Hello, my beautiful friends. I'm here today with Alex. Thank you so much for joining me today. It took me a while to pin this guy down, sit him in this chair, and finally talk about the relationship video that you and I have been meaning to do for quite a long time, right?
Yeah, but I think it's always good because as relationship goes, you get better at it. So now we have more experience than ever. So
we even have more tips to share. So today we're going to talk about how to have a great relationship, not just a good relationship, a great relationship that is effortless, seamless, fun, because it's possible. We are the living proof that this kind of, why are you looking at it like
no, because
that?
it may seem like very, I don't know, like egocentric to talk about like that we have a good relationship, but a lot of us a great relationship. But I think it's important because a lot of people, if they look up to us and they ask us that question, it's like, you know, you, Mimi, you guys seem so effortless. You have this great relationship. You work together. You travel together. You do all these fun things together. But you also, you know, went through the struggle together. And you know, it just a lot of people ask us, how do you guys do it? Mm-hmm. So Mimi's like, you know, let's make this relationship video because it can help a lot of people out. So I'm like, yeah, cool. Let's do it.
And I just want to mention before we even start that our relationship is not perfect. You know, because from the outside, maybe looking at Instagram pictures or videos or vlogs, it might seem like the relationship is perfect and we never have any arguments or anything. But the fact is, it's still work and it still takes certain things, rules and disciplines to make it work consistently for years and years. So Alex and I have been married for 5.5 years now. It's crazy to even think about. We dated for what, 2-3 years before we got married?
Yeah, I think so. And that's another thing. Yeah, we're not good with dates. We actually don't have we
don't celebrate anniversaries or we don't even know basically when we started dating. Roughly it's about 8 years. We met at work about 9 years ago probably, I think. And we were friends at first. We would just hang out and chat about things, and then, you know, we started dating and one thing led to another, and now we're together married for many years. But I think I want to start with the first major thing that I think is the foundation of any relationship. So if relationship is a house, the foundation is this. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about having a common vision together. And I think that's initially what attracted Alex and I in the first place when we were just friends at work. I
guess maybe it would be good to even tell quickly the story of how we met. So I got promoted to this bank in Richmond Hill in Canada. And Mimi was kind of there. And before I even moved to the bank, one of my previous assistant managers, he said, you know, there's this girl, Mimi, she's really hot, look out for her. And I'm like, okay, cool. And kind of, we moved to that branch, I met Mimi right away. And Mimi was, you know, kind of...
I might have seemed a bit like...
like she's like
I come off sometimes. I don't think anymore, but I think when I used to work at a bank, you know, like I'm dressed up in this bank attire, I can come off a bit unapproachable, I think, but I'm not, of course. But it's the image, I think.
Exactly.
It was the image.
Yeah, so it was this kind of the image of like really cool girl. But as we kind of got to know each other and talk and just be co-workers at first, then friends, and going to the point that Mimi said, what attracted us to each other more than anything was that we had a common vision of a life that we wanted to build together. And this is kind of one of the first topics, and Mimi is saying why it's one of the most important things to kind of as a foundation of relationships that bring you together, you know, even more important, than sex and other things, because a lot of times
it's what binds the relationship.
A lot of times I believe people get infatuated with and get passionate about, let's say, this attractability. However, if you're going to be with a partner for your life, it's very important that you guys are very aligned in
how you see the future. Like for us, I'm sorry for
no,
we're gonna interrupt each other. Exactly. So because that's how we are in person. When we're having a conversation, we'll always finish each other's sentences and interrupt each other.
I wouldn't even say it's interrupting. I would say it's more kind of helping each other flow, because you'll see we become very common together as people as well.
And we can read each other's minds.
Yeah, I can literally, because we spend so much time together, I can literally feel and see and tell what Mimi has in her head in a way.
Okay, but going back to the vision and why it's important. So one of the things that attracted Alex and I is that both of us wanted to travel the world, have our own businesses. We wanted kind of to be like free birds, like adventurous life. All these things is what we wanted individually, even before we started dating. So we would share that and we would kind of get attracted to each other because we saw so many similarities. Why is it important? Let's say if you're like me and you want to travel the world, have your own business, and you start dating this guy and he's like, I'm cool where I live, I don't want to change anything, like this lifestyle is good for me, and I don't know what you're talking about. You might think, oh well, in time I'll change him, he'll go traveling with me. You know, it's not gonna work that way. You have to be realistic when you meet somebody and respect that their vision of the future is not your vision of the future. For example, you might want to have 5 children, but your partner, whether woman or man, might say, I never want to have kids. I think it's very important in that moment to be realistic and respect the other person's opinion and idea and vision of what they have for themselves, and not kind of try to fantasize that you'll change the person, they'll want to have kids. Or let's say you want to move to Japan like forever in a few years and the person is like, I don't want to move to Japan. Again, it's like these are important things. There's no point to commit yourself to a relationship and then get your heart broken, because in a way you're setting yourself for that failure.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And with Mimi and I, that's exactly what happened. We knew that we saw ourselves as, you know, more of international citizens. We saw ourselves not living in Toronto, although it's a great city, but we saw ourselves being in one of these global centers like New York or London, and also just traveling the world to find our place in it and truly be global citizens, have our own business, be free. And we kind of shared that. That was our common vision. And as Mimi said, you know, a lot of times, let's say in relationships, and we see it in our own lives through friends and whatever, where one would be like, I'm totally cool living in the suburbs and this is my life, this is my family, and I don't have no big dream of going to New York or London and living this big life. I just want a simple life. While the other one, let's say, wants something more grand and adventure and whatever. So it's very important that you guys are aligned. That if you want just a regular family and you have your friends and the close-knit things, that's cool. That's amazing. And if you want to achieve and do great things, whatever they might be, and you guys are in it together, that's even better, because that way you guys won't separate and you will even grow and bond even more together throughout the years.
Yeah, that's how you become the power couple, I think, because you have the same vision. If you're just doing it yourself, it's like you exert a lot more energy as opposed to doing it together, because then it's just like you like energize each other and then it's like this magic happens.
Yeah, and I think it's also very important for your values, right? So even what's your spirituality like, you know?
Yeah, very important.
Maybe also, one person's really religious, another person's not religious, and you may think, oh, it doesn't matter, but
I'll convince him and he'll convert to my religion. You know, it might happen, and it happens a lot, but at the same time, you cannot count on that. I think it's important to respect the other person.
I think, and that's something that we'll talk about. Yeah, respecting the other person, their beliefs and their values.
And who they are as a human being.
Yeah, and that's why it's important to have that common vision, common values together, because that's what will make a seamless, effortless relationship, because you guys won't be butting heads through these really big topics.
The next key to a great relationship is unconditional love. And many people use the word unconditional without really realizing what that means. If you look at the root of the word, unconditional means without any conditions. Would you like to talk about that, Alex?
I guess, you know...
I know it's a very passionate topic of Alex.
I think for both of us.
For both of us.
Yeah, but I guess especially when we met, one of the things that, you know, you feared as well, but that a lot of, you know, people just fear in general, is that they'll be tied down in a relationship and there'll be certain conditions put on them in a relationship. And, you know, with us, the way we see a relationship is that really, like I said, the most important thing is that we're still individual people, right? And this is very important, is that I don't own Mimi.
And I don't know Alex. I don't own Alex.
Exactly. It's like you don't go in a relationship with the idea of like, you complete me and...
I'm 50 and you're 50 and now that we're together we're 100. That's not how we see relationship. In our relationship, I'm 100 and he's 100.
Exactly.
And we both bring that in, and together we're, you know, we make 1,000.
Exactly, because you know, a lot of times it's like my better half and all that stuff. I get that, I understand that. However, in the relationship, you have to be 100% of yourself. So you don't bring a half, you bring 100, and Mimi brings 100. And as individuals, when we come together, we create 1,000, right? Because it's very important that we don't just complete, let's say, a missing link in our relationship, that we're in a relationship together to really build ourselves up individually so that we're all strong. And when we first even met with Mimi, I told Mimi right away, I'm like, Mimi, I want you to be independent. I want you to have even, let's say, your own business, your own money. I really want you to be a strong woman that you, even if I'm not here, that you can.
And it was very refreshing because again, it's not a common thing that you get to see coming from a man. And you know, to me, that was very special and that was very meaningful because I in that moment I realized like this person is a keeper because he wants me to grow. He doesn't want me to submit to him, to be his like puppet or like stay-at-home wife, which is nothing wrong with being a stay-at-home wife if that's something you want to do, but it's just not the person I am. It wouldn't make me personally happy. So again, that's another reason why it works in our relationship. But I think when going back to unconditional love, also realizing that you cannot say that I will love you if you do this, 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 and that. That already means it's not unconditional love. There are some conditions in order for me to love you. I will love you if you act like this. I will love you if you wear clothes like this. I will love you if you don't go out at this time. Well, all of those things, like I said, are conditions. That means you're not really accepting the person that is. You're just trying to mold this human being into your ideal version of this person. I believe, and that's something that we always talk about, that we read in a book, Mastery of Love, which kind of reaffirmed our own values of relationships, that instead of changing somebody into the mold of a person you want to have as your partner, just go and find that person, because you cannot change a dog into a cat. If you want a cat, go and get a cat. And that's what the book talks about, and it's something that Alex and I both recommend for you to read. We recommend this book to all of our friends and family. Most of them have read it by now. It's called Mastery of Love. It's
by Dominic Gilreath.
Yes, it's a teeny tiny book. You can read it in literally a day if you really want to. But another thing before I forget, I wanted to mention that even in a relationship, and I think this is probably very unconventional, we always we kind of never say forever. Like we say forever.
I know, this is very
this is very unconventional, but I think it's something important to mention. You know how people say like, oh, I will never leave you, I will never do this, the reality is we don't know. And people who say I will never do this, a lot of them end up doing it, cheating, breaking
Somebody
up.
just sneezed like crazy.
That's crazy, yeah.
So true, that's true in our
that's an omen that whatever we're saying is the truth. But I think a lot of times people make these major promises that they're not able to hold or keep because life changes and we don't know what will happen. So instead of promising what I cannot guarantee, what I do is I just give my best every single day. And if tomorrow Alex says, hey, I need to go and travel the world for I don't know how long, but that's what my soul wants, I will have no right to say, hey, you're mine, you need to stay here, I need to cling on to you, you're not allowed to leave because we're together. I will have to respect him as a human being and say, hey, you can do whatever you need to do for your fulfillment and joy, and if I really love you, I will be here and I will wait for you.
And we had that at the beginning of our relationship, because when we first started dating and just seeing each other, in our beginning, Mimi wanted to move away to Baku, Azerbaijan, full time. And she's like, well, I already made this decision. That's why she actually at the beginning, she was rejecting me, because she's like, there's no point to even beginning a relationship now because I'm gonna leave and I'm moving away. I've sold my car, I'm moving away, and that's it. I already made my decision. I said, you know what? Don't worry. I'm not trying to hold you down, tie you down. So let's just see how it goes. Let's just have some fun, just even together, just as friends, as people. We have a lot of things in common. We enjoy spending time together. And I said, you know what? I fully support you going away to Baku. And so you go there, you figure out, see what you like. We'll talk to each other, and that's what happened. You went away, and that time we would
write each other,
write emails to each other, have phone calls, and have that long distance thing. You can say your own experience, I never said oh, I'm waiting for you, can't wait for you to be back, when are you coming back, baby? No, I was cool,
complete freedom, do what you need to do, figure it out, and you know, we'll make it work. Basically, I'm here for you and we'll make it work. And whatever time it takes, I give you that freedom and time because I don't own you. Basically, that's like kind of one of the values. I don't own you, you don't own me. It's complete independence and freedom. And that's, I think, what makes the relationship extra beautiful.
It's like, because the way we see ourselves in a relationship is like we're each other's kind of advisors and guides.
Mentors, best
mentors,
friends.
yeah, mentors, best friends, to becoming the best version of ourselves. And like I said, for me, a lot of times, you know, people, for example, there'll be cases where they don't want their partner to be smarter, to become more independent, because they're afraid that maybe they'll outgrow them or they'll go away. But for us, I see that we challenge ourselves always to be better people, because we know that it will push us to be better people as well. And that's kind of just number one thing that we have in our relationship. And the thing that I want to add about this book, Mastery of Love, like, guys, if there's one book that you will read in your life, it's Mastery of Love. That would totally, I'm gonna say, for us, it totally changed the way.
It's a game changer.
It's really a game changer, the way you look at relationship, not only with let's say your loved one, also your family, with your friends, your coworkers, but also a relationship, most importantly, with yourself. Because what the book talks about, I think what Mimi and I always focus on while we're saying this point of still individuality, is that the love that you'll be able to receive in your life is all based on the love that you have for yourself.
And love, the love you give to yourself.
So love always begins with yourself. You have to love yourself. And there's a great, I don't know if we should get into it, but one of the greatest and memorable stories from the book is called About the Magical Kitchen. Right, and in that example,
it's a beautiful story.
You want to tell it?
I guess we could tell the story. I mean, it doesn't take away from the importance of the book. If anything, it's gonna make you want to read the book even more. But basically, there's a story about magical kitchen. So let's say you have a fridge and the fridge is empty. If somebody comes to you and says, "Hey, I have this old pizza," and let's say you're really starving, like you're hungry, and this person comes to you and says, "Hey, I'll give you the slice of old crusted pizza, but you have to do this, this, and that." What do you think you will do? If you are starving, you will take this pizza because you're starving, you just want to survive. It's like you just want anything to survive. So you will take the conditions and you will eat the pizza. And then you will be the slave of this relationship and this person. Now, if your kitchen is full of vegetables, fruit, all these delicious, healthy things, and somebody comes to you and says, "Hey, I have this old slice of pizza, I'll give it to you if you do this, this, and that," what do you think you will do? You'll tell them, "I don't need your freaking pizza. In fact, I can feed you and I don't need anything." How does this story translate into life is that the food in the fridge is your own love for yourself. When you have self-love, you will not tolerate any abuse, verbal, physical, etc., from anyone. Not your family members, not your friends, not any strangers, not a potential date, lover. Because you have enough love for yourself. You're like, it's not like you're gonna be mean to them, but in fact you will send them love and you say, "Hey, I can see you're in pain, but I'm not gonna tolerate this abuse. I wish you all the best, but I'm gonna move on and look for somebody who will respect and love me the same way I respect and love myself." And you will give that back to your partner. So yeah, anyways, that's like a little glimpse of that book.
Well, I think it's very important. It feeds back to the point that we're talking about you being 100% for yourself and you loving yourself first. Another story that we shared before or in some of our previous videos, which it's sometimes it may be counterintuitive about this thing about loving yourself and self-love and just having that love, but it actually helps everybody around you. And one of the best examples, and this is not scripted, about when I brought you tea. Right?
Oh yeah,
I think it's a great,
yeah, we can share it.
I think it's a great story, but just how in our own lives, how, for example, the love for myself,
the self-love can actually help.
Can actually translate and help other people. So, for example, I think it was some time ago, years ago.
We're still in Toronto.
We're still in Toronto.
I think this is when we just started dating. I was really, really sick. I had a bad cough. I woke up at 3, 4 in the morning coughing, and quite honestly, quite lazy to get up and just make myself some tea, which would help like soothe my throat, and I would stop coughing. coughing. So I'm just coughing in pain and doing nothing.
Yeah, it's like in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
I hear this, and in my mind, I'm like, okay, like I really want to sleep. So I go to the kitchen. I make Mimi a beautiful tea with like lemon, ginger, honey, the whole thing, like really nice tea. In the middle of the night, I bring it to her. I'm like, hey, Mimi, here's some tea to make you feel better, right?
Kiss me on my forehead and goes to sleep. And I'm like, oh, this is so sweet. He's the best guy in the world. I'm so happy, blah, blah, blah. I drink the tea, I go to sleep. Next morning, I just want to thank him for what he did because I truly appreciated that. It's even not something I didn't do for myself. We're sitting over breakfast and I told him, Alex, thank you so much. That was so sweet that you woke up in the middle of the night to give me the tea. You must really love me. And,
and I said,
and he started laughing. First he started laughing. He started laughing. I'm like, why are you laughing? What's wrong? Why are you laughing? And
I'm like, me, like, I love you, I do, but I love myself. And I knew that if I would make you tea, that you go to sleep and I'll go to sleep and it'll all be good.
You said you will stop coughing and we can both go to sleep.
Exactly, but that real example.
But I respected that. I was like, hey, that is so true. His love for himself benefits both of us.
Exactly, and it does. And the way we see is that it really, when you have love for yourself, it really will benefit so many people around you.
Yeah.
And especially when both individuals are in that level, it makes things so much easier because we're always looking out for ourselves and for the other person, and it just makes the environment so much better.
The next tip for a great relationship is to do things together. I cannot stress enough how important that is in a relationship. For us, I would say it's a bit easier because, again, we live together, we're married, we work together, we're basically 24/7 together. So we do a lot of things together. However, I understand some of you guys might not be in the same situation. Actually, probably most of you guys are not in the same situation. But this doesn't mean you can't create some kind of routines where you do things together. And it could be something as small as, just maybe on weekends, having some kind of a routine where you go to a coffee shop or you go to this park and you take a walk. So you do this every single weekend. It kind of binds you together again. It creates this bond where you get to share, spend time together, talk. It could be taking a class together. We used to take salsa classes together.
We still know those moves.
Yeah. My parents used to do Tai Chi together and that really helped them grow and connect.
Now they bike together.
Now they bike together, which is super cute. What would you add to that?
The thing I would add to that is that, if you can, have a routine together with your loved one. Meaning Mimi and I, we're lucky enough to, let's say, to wake up together and go to sleep together. We have the same schedules because we work together. So we wake up at the same time together and we go to sleep at the same time together. So we have the same morning routine, we brush our teeth. We also do one thing that I believe really helps us and a tool that we highly recommend, I think, to other couples is to do the 5-minute journal together. So this is a journal that we created, together with our friend UJ, and it's
we really created it for ourselves.
Yeah, and we really
then it took off.
Exactly. It took off, but we really created it for ourselves. But it's a tool that allows you, every day in the morning we say things that we're grateful for in our lives, whether it be that the relationship that we have together or just other things that we have in our lives. Then we also say to each other, what will make today great? So we see, what is and how it's based on the day and how it will unfold, and we'll make the day great for the other person. Then we even tell each other our kind of daily affirmation that we have for ourselves. And then in the night, the beautiful thing is that, like, when you go to sleep, then you
reflect on the day. So even if you didn't spend the day together, which for us most of the days we do spend together, but for you, for example, you might have different jobs, situations, then you get to see what that person experienced through that day. In most situations, you'll never find out if you don't do the 5-minute journal, because the person will share with you intimate moments that made them feel great on that day. And I feel like there's nothing else that connects you more than actually talking about the day and the emotions that you have experienced through that day that made you feel good.
Exactly, because a lot of times couples, at the end of the day or at
they
night,
will share their troubles.
Yeah, they'll share their troubles, they'll complain, they'll do whatever, but they won't share the good things that happen.
Which always happen.
And I remember when we were putting together the 5-minute journal, there was a question on Quora that's why we kind of put it in. Quora is like a forum online where people ask questions and some experts and people answer them. And what happened was, there was a question like, what was one thing that you did that completely changed your relationship or just the life you have? And this guy said that he was having a miserable time in his life and his relationship, but he said that one thing that literally saved his marriage. He said that what he put in his life is that when he would go home, he'll tell his wife at least one good thing that happened to him that day, and they will talk about it. Because all of a sudden, it flipped their conversation
instead of the problems,
whatever, to be about this, a good thing that happened to him in a day. And and the 5 Minute Journal is three good things that happened to you in a day. And like I said, you don't need the journal itself. We have everything available online on the website 5minutejournal.com. You can take the format, do yourself in your own journal. We really just created the format to benefit people. And it's all based on research, science of other people that put together. We just kind of summed it up in a nice little journal together.
But basically what we're trying to say is just do things together. Anything. It could be as small as brushing the teeth together. That's what we do. And we hug each other when we brush. It could be just doing hugs in the morning or the evening, like as sort of your ritual. But start doing things together, because that's what will make your relationship stronger and take it to the next level.
Yeah, and I think one thing to mention is definitely hug.
Hugs are so good.
It's so important,
all the time.
If you guys saw our morning routine, one thing we actually didn't put in today is actually we hug way more.
Well, we put it, but we just didn't put it to the extent that we actually did, because you guys would think we're two good balls.
No, but yes, it'll say, sex in a relationship is important, but it's also important. The physical touch can go just not beyond that intimate thing. It can also be just the touching of your body, just your cells throughout the day, and that interaction that you have. If you have it in the morning or at night, even better, and it'll bring you closer together. And the reason I'm
to show affection, show physical affection.
Physical touch. So it's really important, because many people, they sleep together in their king-size beds in their own corner, and they don't even come near each other. Some people sleep in separate
beds,
rooms and stuff like that.
Somebody's snoring or whatnot.
Yeah, but to us, what connects us, or anytime where we disconnect with Mimi, is when
we spend some time apart physically, and then all we have to do is to reconnect, is to hug and be close physically, and then it's like your heart starts speaking, and then everything else falls into place.
Exactly. So that'll be it. And like I said, I want just a point. I think it's really important. Make the effort, because I know sometimes you're I want to sleep the next half hour more than my husband. But I'm telling you, wake up that half hour before and do things together with him or with her. It's a valuable investment that you can make into your relationship that will bond you guys together if you guys do these things together.
But on that note, I would just say make the effort, period. That's another, I think, big thing for having a great relationship, is to, now that let's say you're in a relationship, is to continue taking care of yourself. Because what happens with a lot of people is that when they're in the early dating stages, they will, dress up, the woman will do their makeup, hair, take regular showers and, do all these things that you're supposed to do anyways, grooming and all that thing. And then when they get in a relationship, they no longer do that. And that can be very unattractive to the man. And similarly, the other way around, if the man is not taking care of himself, and these are just simple things, just be clean, get a haircut, wear fresh clothes that make you feel good. There's no, specific thing you need to do, but just take care of yourself, make yourself look and feel good, because that's what will be attractive to your partner. Yeah. And if you let yourself go, you're no longer even attracted to yourself, and naturally your partner will no longer find you attractive. So put the effort to make yourself look good for yourself first, but of course for your partner as well.
Yeah, I think
they will always appreciate it.
Yeah, to add to that point, just even at the beginning of a relationship, when even you're looking for that, let's say, special one, and ongoing to that point, is a lot of times people wait for magic for the other person to make the relationship work, or to do it, and they're not doing anything themselves. And the same thing is there's people who are waiting for their prince or princess or whatever it might be, that perfect mate. But the question you have to ask yourself is, for you to attract the person you want to be with, who will that person be attracted to? So even if you meet the prince of your life, will they want to be with you? Right? Yeah. And that's why we talk about putting 100% of yourself first, because you have to be the best version of yourself. Yeah, because
people have this notion, and we always talk about it, meeting the Prince Charming or the Princess Charming, is that what they call her? But you have to always ask yourself, if you meet this Prince Charming, who do you have to be for this Prince Charming, not only to first get attracted to you, but to continue wanting to be in a relationship with you? You have to match up to that. And once you start the inner work, you will naturally attract the partner.
Exactly.
All right, so the next point I want to talk about is secret dates. And this is something we introduced into our relationship, I would say, a year or two into it. This was at the time we started living together, and our relationship was steady. We said, okay, we gotta do something to excite and make our relationship more fun. And we came up with this concept of doing secret date. And what it is that each partner gets to take the other one on a secret date once a month. So let's say now is September, Alex takes me out, and then October it's my turn. So it's just once a month, and then you alternate. And the secret date can be at any point, so you have to know, of course, that the person is available. And you just tell them, hey, you're coming with me. You don't tell them where you're taking them, and you just surprise them. And again, it doesn't have to be expensive. It can be...
You go in the park.
You just take them to a park and get them, some tea or coffee, hot chocolate, whatever they're into that they like. You can take them to a nice restaurant if you can afford that. You can take them on an adventure hunt. You can take them on a hike. You can do all these things. There's a million ideas out there if you really research. But the idea is to put the effort to surprise your partner and to do something spontaneous. I think that is what keeps the spark alive, which keeps the excitement alive. Once I took Alex, this was a funny one. I wanted to take him, it was like a horseback riding in Niagara Falls. Okay. And we were driving, I was driving the car because he didn't know where we were driving. And he kept like trying to guess where we're going. And I'm like, okay, fine, I'll tell you, but I wasn't gonna tell him. So I said, we're gonna jump off the plane because they do have that. We're gonna go skydiving because they do have that.
It was around the same location.
Yeah, they have that in Niagara Falls, and he was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to.
I'm not ready.
You should have told me ahead of time. And I was just like laughing my ass off. I had such a good laugh, and then I said, calm down, we're not gonna jump on the plane.
Yeah, but then, maybe we are.
It's something else. So yeah, it's definitely gonna bring some excitement to your relationship. It's something we don't do as much anymore because again, we just spend so much time together. Like last time I wanted to surprise Alex with a surprise date, he actually found out because my computer screen was open. I was very upset.
But I think at the same time now is that we're always integrating. Like we're always being spontaneous in our relationship. And that's another thing. It's like we both have a common vision together. We both like to be spontaneous. A lot of times we'll just do things and it'll be spontaneous. I'll take Mimi out and it'll just be spontaneous. Sometimes we don't have to call it a secret date.
Yeah, we got to a point where we just do it like all the time. We don't really keep track anymore. I think it's good to start with that, and then it'll just become a habit and a way of life.
This next point, to me, and I think to us, is one of the most important points. Is really what keeps us together and what keeps us building together, what really makes an amazing, great relationship. And I'm so excited for this point because honestly, people, when they don't do this, this is when relationships fall. And the point that we really want to talk to you about, guys, today is have hard conversations, no matter how little or big they are.
Because in any relationship, in any amazing relationship even, you are gonna have some disagreements. It's just natural. You're not the same human being. You're gonna have some points that you don't agree on. You're gonna have some things that annoy you maybe in the other person, or maybe they do something that offended you. The list goes on. It could be anything. What's important when this happens, and it will happen in any relationship, let's be realistic, is that instead of keeping it in and holding it in and then growing that inside of you until one day you blow up, which usually happens in relationships, you need to face the person right away and tell them, hey, you just said that, that's not cool, I don't like that. It's easy to say, it's actually really tough to do that in the moment because I've tried it. It's really sometimes difficult to bring yourself up in the moment and say, this thing you just said, or I really don't appreciate it. Like whatever it is that the person might have said, done, what we have established very early on in the relationship, when I think we had one of our first agreements. First disagreement. Yeah. After we agreed and we made up, we said, hey, what can we do so that this doesn't happen in the future? And we both agreed that next time that this happens, we're gonna sit down and we're gonna talk about it until we are both happy.
Yeah,
and that can take hours.
Yeah, until we both come to
an agreement, some kind of
and understand between one another. Because many people, this is in any relationships, right? And like I said, to us, to you, some of you watching, and you may say, even so far watch, you guys are so perfect. Guys, trust me, to get to build a relationship like this, it takes lots of work
and courage
and courage. And I think most importantly, to understanding, even though we're talking about effortless or seamless and having a common vision, even though we do have that, the thing is we're still individuals that, let's say, before Mimi met me, I still had, let's say, 19 years of my life. before Mimi met me, or
Oh, you were so little,
Mimi had, let's say, 20 years of her life, and she had a different upbringing, different values, different ways of bringing up, different country,
different ways of talking,
different ways of
dealing with issues,
different family, the way we're raised. So we're brought up differently, and this is why there will be clashes of what I say,
personalities
and personalities,
egos, really,
and egos, and understandings how to deal with certain situations. But the most important thing that we've really brought into our relationship is, like I said, that ability to have hard conversations. Meaning,
in the moment, you don't get to walk away and say, "Hey, I'll deal with it next week, tomorrow." There were times when literally we were driving and then we had an argument, and I said, "Hey, let's pull over," or Alex said, "Hey, let's pull over." Pulled over the car, sat on the curb for 2-3 hours, you know, hand gestures and all, until we understood each other. And then you go to sleep hugging because everything is fine. But it takes that work. I mean, you don't just, "I don't get you, you don't get me, let's just walk away because I don't understand." No, you have to work through the tough points to get to the person's heart. Because first, when you have an argument, you're faced with the ego, the image of the person, and then you have to go through that image so that you get to the heart and you really get to the person.
Yeah, and I think the important thing here is, like I said, is like Mimi and I, let's say, we had several of those throughout our relationship, but every time, the reason, for example, we invest that time into having those hard conversations for sometimes for hours is because
what makes
these are building blocks. If you're not willing to go through these hard conversations, then you know what, it's going to be really difficult down the line, because if this issue is unresolved, think of it like a parasite or a virus. That thing is still in there. You haven't healed it. You haven't got to an agreement, and that's why it takes, sometimes a very long time. And by the end of it, we're both exhausted. And like, me was like, "Can we just go to sleep?" I'm like, "No, we can't go to sleep because I haven't felt that you fully understand me." And you have to understand that it's about the relationship that you have. Don't care if you're maybe even sometimes
in a public space.
You maybe take each other apart so you can be in a more private space. But make sure that you have the ability to talk to each other right away and to really dig things through. And like I said, it's no matter how little or big. If you notice he's throwing or she's throwing her socks around the house and it bothers you, don't just put it in.
Yeah.
Bring it up to that other person and talk it through and see how you can help you, and also try to bring a solution, how you can help each other. So I think that it's a very important topic.
I would say it's one of the most important things that makes our relationship the way it is that we have hard conversations. And also another point to that is that we share a lot with each other, and we share our deepest fears, we share our deepest thoughts that maybe we've never shared with anyone. And I think, again, it's very tough to do that sometimes, because there's things in your head that you never shared with anyone, because you think if you share with someone, they will think you're crazy or they will judge you. So you don't share them because you don't want to be vulnerable. Really, I think that's why people don't do that. But understand that when you're in a relationship, if you get yourself to share it, which you should, because that's what relationships are for, if this person is the right person
and they accept you fully,
he will accept you no matter what. It will actually heal you. That is the power of relationship.
Because you can bring up an example, because with me, I think a lot of times when we're just also going through our relationship, at times, let's say, you had advice like from people not to.
Oh yeah, like from older women who are married. They said, "Oh no, never share this stuff with your husband. Like, you share this with your girlfriends." And I would think to myself, hell no, like, why would I share with, like, he's my friend, he's not just my lover, he's my best friend. So I think that's like the understanding to have when you're in a relationship with somebody. It's not just like, okay, you share the space, and let's say you're married and you have kids. You are each other's best friends, and if you treat it this way, you will have this amazing, effortless, fun, exciting relationship. But you gotta treat it this way, and you gotta be vulnerable, and you gotta share the real you with the other person. And I can't tell you how many times, I had to overcome my fears and things in my head and be like, "Oh, I can't really share this with Alex. He's gonna judge me. He's gonna think I'm weird." And then I share it, and
so what?
And he laughs and he says, "I think about the stuff too." Like, it's actually,
it makes you feel more.
And I'm like, oh, all that time I held that in. I should have just told him. And you feel healed, and that maybe negative or bad thought that you had in your head just drifts away, because no longer you think you're weird, abnormal for thinking this kind of stuff. And I think we all have different kind of things going on in our head, but I think when you share, it's like you set that free, and when the other person accepts you, you truly healed.
Yeah, and you accept yourself.
And you accept yourself, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was a long video. We could share a lot more, but I think it's enough for this video. You guys are probably overwhelmed by all this information, but thank you so much for sticking through the whole video. Thank you, Alex, for joining me in this video. It's so much fun to film with you.
And maybe also, if you guys have additional questions, I think this would be good, because maybe we can create a follow-up in the future with
yeah, we could do like a relationship FAQ. So maybe if you have any questions, you can submit it down here. Maybe you can submit it on Snapchat. Not now, but I think we could announce it at some point. Yeah. But just let us know if you'd like to see more relationship related videos. I think that would help us understand if we can do more or if we should do more. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in again. If you enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up. It will totally make our day. Share it with your loved ones, because I think these kind of tips and values can help a lot of people with their relationships. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think
I was gonna blow a kiss.
No, I think a good thing that I would recommend, you know, if you do watch this video, you know, it's very important not to go to your other, let's say, loved one and start nailing down all these points to them. This is how they are and this is how we should be. You have your own individual relationship and how you are. What I would recommend is, like, for example, you can, to your partner, say, hey, you know, I watched this great video. Why don't we watch it together? Yes,
get the other person to watch it too.
So watch this video together with your partner and discuss these points together. Yeah. And then the conversation. And see
what works for you, what doesn't work for you. Maybe some things don't work for you, and that's fine.
But most importantly, the conversation that will happen and the things that you will uncover about each other and how each other feel, you'll get to know each other so much better. And you will really be able to see if you guys are aligning for the long term. So that'll be my recommendation, is like, don't just absorb all this yourself, share with a loved one. Even better, watch it together and talk about this. Pause, talk, and see things through.
All right, have a great day, guys. Bye.